Her Eyes in Hazy Dreams. A short story from the collection entitled Gold Hills, Rust Valley, by E.S. Wynne. Lynn. "Sean?" she asks, and my fingers get loose around the stock of my trusty hunting rifle. Lynn. I know the voice. It's her. Jesus Christ, 15 years, 16 maybe. My raspy lips whisper the words. Lynn? Is it you? Lynn? We're standing a dozen paces apart at the top of a low rise where Highway 4 ripples west to east over rolling country. She's older, but somehow she still looks the same. Sad eyes, piercing and blue. Thick, brown-black hair, dry and wild from a decade and a half in the wasteland winds. There's a scar on her left cheek that wasn't there before, a burn mark with ink vine lines snaking out from a mottled strip of scorched flesh at her neck. Gone are the sheer sarongs and colorful sundresses I remember. Leather vests and the belts of tire-tread pauldrons wrap her steady chest instead. Pants, layers of denim patched and stitched together. Stout leather belts tight around the knees, around the elbows. Fingers dark and dappled with grease, dirt, and the bruising of breaks still healing. At her hip, she carries an old 6-shooter. At her back, a lightweight, composite 12-gauge as black as a beetle's shell. I'm not dreaming? She asks. It's all I can do to shake my head. It's been so long since I've seen anyone. It's been even longer since I've seen anyone I knew from before everything ended. We talk until dusk comes. Nothing else seems to matter. We are each a piece of the world as it once was for the other. We are each of us the closest thing the other has to a sense of the way things were, a sense of home. Hunger sets in. We decide not to let the night catch us on the road. Lynn knows a place nearby, an old barn where she's been sleeping for the past week, living off of roasted crickets and carpenter bees. I can practically see her mouth watering when I offer to share my meager supply of pork jerky with her. Real food, she slobbers. We build a fire with sticks and twigs and a heap of rotten clothing from a farmhouse closet. It isn't much, but it's enough to keep the cold away until we're comfortable enough to touch, to sit together, breathe together. It's strange at first, being so close to another human, trusting another human. It's been so long for both of us. So long. I still haven't forgiven you for choosing Teresa over me, she says at one point. Teresa. Another memory from 15 years ago. The woman I was living with when the bombs fell. Lynn and I had been dating, growing closer and closer, until one day she suddenly announced that she wasn't ready for love, needed to weigh her options, play the field a little more. I was devastated, heartbroken. Then Teresa came along, and she'd been ready. She'd been ready for so much more than Lynn had ever been. I don't say anything. I still remember the argument. We had phones then. We didn't even have to meet in person to scream at each other. 2 months with no word from Lynn, and I was ready to marry Teresa. Social media, Facebook. That's how Lynn found out about the plans. That's where the first burst of nastiness came in. Remembering it is enough, even now, to make me shift, uncomfortable. We were both so young, I offer. In the flickering light of the dying fire, I see Lynn nod, feel her breathe a tired sigh. It helps. We've both spent so many years being chased by the hungry hordes from the cities, so many years growling and scrapping with strangers over powdered milk and cans of refried beans. Forgiveness, human kindness, acceptance, surrender. They're almost alien concepts. Warming, all the same. Meet anyone else? she asks. She doesn't look at me, doesn't need to ask if Teresa survived the war. 15 years, and Teresa only made it through the first few months. I hadn't been able to protect her from the chaos that had exploded in the wake of the first strikes. I'd spent every day since trying to scrub the memory of how she died out of my mind. No, I shake my head. You? No, she says. She's quiet for a moment, seems to hesitate, seems momentarily terrified, swallows it back into a belly full of butterflies. I couldn't move on. Not after you. Not after the bombs. I know what she means. I know because I've lived it. So much time spent just surviving, just getting by, living day to day. Seeing everyone as a potential enemy, trusting nothing, no one. I haven't been this close to a woman I wasn't trying to kill or keep from being killed by in over a decade. Buds of tears pull at the weathered edges of my dry eyes. I reach up to touch her hair. She flinches at first, looks at me with those big, watery eyes, as if assessing my motives. My hands are as dirty and bruised as hers are, but somehow, I manage to make my touch gentle, manage a caress so soft. She shivers, settles back into the palm of my hand. I missed you, she admits. I dreamed about you, when I dreamed. Everything fell apart, but somehow I knew you were still alive. Somehow I knew I'd see you again. I kept expecting it. I kept expecting to come around a corner and find you standing there, still dressed in jeans and that blue cotton shirt I bought you for your birthday all those years ago. I kept looking for you in the eyes of every man I met on the road, every brute who tried to take me, or carve me up, or rape me. But you were never a brute. You were too good to let the bad world change you. I'd almost given up. Must be a few years now since I stopped looking for you. But there were always the dreams. I don't speak. I lean in, bury my face in her dirty hair, pull in the scent of her, familiar even after all these years. The shiver that rolls through her body is desperate, delicious, brings with it something close to a moan. I'm here, I whisper against her neck, kiss her just behind the ear, just gently. I'm here. Her arms wrap around me, and in the near darkness we pull each other close, hold each other, so grateful, so grateful. She sucks in a shaking, sobbing breath, her fingers tight with need. The only thing good about the end of the world, she whispers, the only thing good is this. A chance to start over. A chance to get it right. One last time. We'll get it right, I whisper back. And in the pause I can feel how desperately she wants this. How desperately she wants to believe that we can make it. How ready she is to love again. To trust someone at long last. I feel it all. The same feelings are surging as keenly through me. We'll get it right, I breathe the words again. We'll make it. As long as we hold on to each other, there's a chance for a better future. I'll never let you go again, Sean, she says. Not like last time. I promise. I know, I whisper back, rock her as she sniffs against the tears. I know.